If any of you guys miss playing basketball in the Adidas Harden Volume 4 and you wanted something that was very similar but maybe not quite the same thing, look no further. These guys feel just like those, but better. Yo, what's good guys? My name's Chris. Welcome back to the official WearTesters.com YouTube channel. Today we got a detailed look, breakdown, and on-court review on these bad boys right here. This is the Adidas adiZero Select 2.0. It's a brand new model from Adidas. Same exact designer from the AE1. One of my favorite shoes of the year so far, not just on-court, but just overall. I think that they're an awesome sneaker. These guys I don't love quite as much. I still think that they're cool in certain aspects, visually and color-wise. Definitely one of those aspects. On-court, I didn't love the Harden Volume 4. Most of you guys probably know that already. And because of that, I don't really love these either, but it is a good shoe if you want something like that, but just in a much lighter weight package. So first things first, this is the debut colorway. I don't know what the colorway's name is. I think that this is the best looking of the bunch that I've seen so far, although I've only seen two. This being the second one. These ones just look kind of more plain and stuff like that. These are both same size, by the way. These are both size 9. I'm probably going to give these guys away in our Discord community. So if you're a part of the community, be on the lookout. If you're not part of the community, links are in the description. It supports us directly, and because of that we support everybody in there directly as well with giveaways and stuff like that in all of your guys' sizes, by the way. Just if I happen to have something like this extra, I will just give it away in there anyways, so it's like a bonus giveaway. Now, as far as this shoe is concerned, these are super lightweight. Like if you're unfamiliar with the adiZero line from Adidas, this is something that they actually started way back when with the Crazy Lights, and they kept going with like the D Rose line, or at least the early versions of the D Rose line. And they were all part of this adiZero campaign, if you will. All the shoes were extremely lightweight on court, this being one of them. It's one of the things I'm really surprised with the shoe is just like how supportive they are, despite being so light. I know that that sounds weird to say, but like constantly, but yes. They're super light. Now, first things first, the traction right here is really interesting. It was very familiar looking to me, at least, because I've played in so many shoes over the past 15 plus years that I've been on YouTube. And this guy right here, at least the forefoot section, really reminds me of the Adidas Dame 4s. I don't know if you guys remember that shoe, but it was actually one of my favorites. This rubber right here isn't quite as firm as that, so that's one of those things where indoors, this worked extremely well. However, it's extra soft. You can really move like each of these little grooves and lines in there, so if you are thinking about buying something like this and then taking it outdoors, I would reconsider. But either way, the performance of the traction indoors was excellent, so that was something that I thought was great. On top of that, there was like minimal wiping involved, despite how weird everything looked. I thought for sure dust was going to get stuck in these little separations that are in between each of the grooves, and it didn't. This actually reminded me of what Nike tried to do with smear traction. It was on like the GT Cut 2s and stuff like that, where it's kind of like an aggressive, like real thick herringbone, but the herringbone grooves or the peaks of it were hollow, so when you applied force to the floor or to the court, it was supposed to kind of smush and smear, so it was like really gripping and adhering to the floor. Some people loved it, some people hated it. If you played in it outdoors, sometimes it would rip on you. This reminds me of that same exact concept, but done in a completely different way, and it just works really well. So no complaints from that end. Moving on up to the cushion, we do have light strike here. They changed it visually. Normally it looks like Nutter Butters, you know what I mean? So nowadays it looks like whatever. I mean, whatever they want to mold it as, that's what they're doing, and they're just kind of touting this as their premium foam outside of Boost. That's one of the things that I don't love about the shoe. I don't love Light Strike in this iteration. I think that Light Strike has been a hit or miss. Sometimes I absolutely love it, and then other times I really don't. This is one of those times where I'm kind of in the middle. I don't hate it or anything, but I also don't love it. Like, it does not make me feel like, ooh, I want to play in those. It's just a little bit too low to the ground and a little bit too lightweight. There's not really much feedback there. Like, it feels like a dead cushion despite them being comfortable. And I know that these are all contradictions to one another. And believe me, I was confused too. I put them on and I was like, I was expecting something a little bit different, something maybe a little bit more bouncy. Zero bounce in them. It's just a nice regular ride, you know what I mean? But in a super lightweight package. Obviously, you could change the insole to remedy that, like to add a little bit more cushion. Typical Adidas fashion, they add these pieces of insoles in there. I really wish they would change these things out, but it is what it is. So again, if you wanted to pull that out and put in something different, whether it have extra torsion support or just extra cushion overall, feel free. Some people though will love this like completely. Like I said, it reminds me a whole lot of the Harden Volume 4. Very similar feel. I will say that those felt a little bit more bouncy in the Light Strike area, but not by much. Now the materials are super lightweight. It's all textile, everything. So it's kind of an interesting setup when you look at the insides. It's like an inside out type of shoe, where normally ripstop is on the exterior of the build, and then you have like layers behind that to like add structure, support, ventilation, so on and so forth. This is the opposite. So the body is made up of ripstop, but it's all on the inside. Then on the outside, you have all the extra components that you would typically have underneath the ripstop material. So you got all of the structured layers that you could see in there. Luckily, they're in different colors on this one, so you can actually see like the green webbing underneath there that again is extra support and everything like that. You got fuse welds at high wear areas or high stress zones, so the toe and the eye stay. The back area is just a molded micro mesh, so nothing really fancy there or anything like that. This weird like adiZero like wing, I wish was a heel clip. I think that would have been really cool, but it's just a piece of fabric. Not to say that the heel counter or anything is weak. It just would have been way cooler if it was like a plastic component. It would have reminded me a lot of their sprint frame stuff, which a lot of the adiZero line was built on. Now, as far as the materials and overall wearing on court, damn near no break-in time. Like the only thing that I can really complain about them, and this is more of a fit issue along with the materials, is when you wear them, they kind of pop in the toe a little bit. It digs into your toe and then pops away from your toe at the same exact time. I just don't really love that feeling. The materials, obviously not my personal preference, but super comfortable, worked really well, you know what I mean? So I can't really complain about them. It's just, would I choose this? The answer is no, but most people prefer this, and so if that's you, then you're gonna love it. One thing I will say though is that this tongue is badass. Like it's something kind of hard to see, but there's pillows everywhere, all the way at the top, all the way at the midfoot, all that stuff. So it really relieves lace pressure, but it's also super breathable. So it's a lightweight tongue and semi-gusseted. It is attached, but it's like way down in like this area, you know what I mean? So it's not gonna be like excruciatingly tight. That's something where like if you're gonna compare these to the Hardens, obviously they're missing the band. So that's one reason why I just like the fit on these a little bit more. It's a little bit more forgiving, and the overall like tightness of the Harden Volume 4 was just, for me, just distracting as hell. This right here doesn't have that problem. One of the things I think is really weird and interesting though is the lacing structure. You can see that there's only 5 eyelets. Like that's weird, you know what I mean? Like usually you get like a good zigzagging pattern and all that stuff, really isolate like tightness or looseness in certain areas, like tighten the forefoot, a little more loose or slack in the midfoot, and then another tightness in the ankle area. This kind of like is just really widely dispersed. It's not common, but it worked really well. So again, no complaints. If anything, I was really surprised by how well everything fit and locked in, because these fit a little bit big. So in typical Adidas fashion, if you were interested in these guys, I would go down half a size. I played in them in my true size, and there was just enough room where I was like, this is not what I prefer. It's not my normal size and all of that stuff. So I think that was one of the reasons why I had the popping in the toe with the materials as well. I feel like if they were a more one-to-one fit, I wouldn't have experienced that quite that badly. But again, because of everything, like the lockdown and all of that stuff, it was actually a real non-issue. It's just something that I would prefer just a little bit closer of a fit. And then all the support, despite them being extremely lightweight, like it's almost like you didn't have support in here, you know what I mean? It's like real weird. But there is a heel counter. You do sit in the midsole a little bit. Nothing in that back area is super substantial. Again, having that, whatever this thing is, being in like plastic would have been really, really cool, and it would have aided that just a little bit more. It definitely a get the job done type of shoe. And I guess for the price point, that's okay, even though, I don't know, like I still think like 110 bucks is expensive, but maybe that's just me. And then inside of the shoe, you can't see it, but there is an internal shank in there, so it provides a decent amount of torsion support and a little bit extra like rigidity to the shoe and stuff like that, so you don't over twist. Now, in addition to all of that stuff, the base is wide and stable, and again, you're sitting real low to the floor. You do sit inside the midsole a little bit, so that just kind of tops everything all off as far as like overall stability and all that stuff. So if you're a shooter or you're shifty and you like that stability, then this is going to be one of those shoes that you might want to try out. Do we have a question of the day?
We do.
What is it?
In honor of all of these storms that have been taking over California, my question of the day is, what is everyone's comfort movie? I know we just did like comfort food, but like, hey, you're locked inside, you're gonna sit down on the couch, get all cozy. What movies are you
sitting in front of the fireplace?
Yeah, what movies are you cuddling up to?
What are you cuddling up to?
Me?
The movie.
Mine are like old classics where like you could just find them on TV back in the day. So like Selena, Forrest Gump, The Wedding Singer. I could like keep going, but I'll just stop at 3.
All right. I
How
don't know
about
if I
you?
have 3, but the the main movie that off the top of my head.
Not favorite. I'm talking comfort.
It's all the one and the same, man.
No,
It's the original
you're
1990s
always gonna say Ninja Turtles.
Ninja Turtles movie. It's the best movie ever, dude. Like, that is the movie. That is my cinematic experience of like the equivalent of somebody seeing Star Wars for the first time in the 70s.
I feel like favorite is different than comfort.
It's so comforting. I know every line of that movie.
That doesn't sound comforting at all then.
It
It
is,
sounds
it's
like
so
you're
fun.
gonna be like competing with the TV.
I'm not competing. I'm enjoying the experience with my buddies, Leonardo, Raphael, Michelangelo, and Donatello. And you cannot beat Corey Feldman's voice in that role. It's so good.
Here goes, Gackface.
And with all that being said, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Don't forget to answer the question of the day down below. And if you wanted to potentially win these things for free in this colorway that I've not seen anywhere else, I thought that they were all available. Apparently it's just this one. But yeah, I'll give these away in our Discord. So if you're not a member, go sign up. Thank you guys so much for everything. We really appreciate you, and we will catch you guys on the next one. So until then, have a good one.